Hi, thank you so much. And Susan, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey. So it's always fun to hear what's happened with everybody else with their patches and how it's helped them. So, well, thank you. And since you mentioned photos, I figured try to give everybody a perspective of where I was. Didn't even look like me for a while. And I am a former plastic surgeon scrub tech. Age 19, I decided to get breast implants because they're free. Those free breast implants cost me over $1 million to save my life. Nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. Not one time did I ever suspect it was my breast implants. And I had miscarriages, hormonal changes. I had open wounds and sores all over my body. And I had this headache that wouldn't go away. So rather than take medicine, I just would suffer with it. But it wasn't a big enough one like when people get migraines. Mine was just felt like weight was on my head. And so my vision kept changing. And then I got to the point where I was so swollen, people just couldn't recognize me. I went from a size 2'4" to a 24. And shortly, I guess it was about 2.5 years of me just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I was like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. Just protect me. And I got to the point where I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. I lived in my brain. They call it locked in. And my vision was going. I had a white, if I did write, it was on a whiteboard with a big Mickey Mouse type style pencil, because I couldn't grip any longer because I had so swollen, so much inflammation in my system. I kept getting mammograms because I kept complaining of breast pain. They kept saying that they were normal. And then I got to an endocrinologist who finally called us into the office. They were like, you need to come see us now. So when we went in, he told me and my husband that basically there was nothing that they could do. My body temperature, even though I was profusely sweating, was 94.5 and 94.6. And he said I was basically in the die-in process and to go get my affairs in order. And he thinks in 2 weeks I'll be in a coma or dead. And that was the last thing I heard. And I thought to myself, because my brain functioned just fine, it was my motor skills that weren't working. And I was just like, I don't receive anything he's saying. Why would he say that? One thing he did say to me was, how much magnesium and potassium do you take? So even though it was very excruciating, painful, it felt like razor blades and alcohol in my throat. I was able to tell him 4 times the amount. And he then said, well, that's what saved your life to this far. The fact that I was led by God to take magnesium, milk and magnesium, I would drink it every night, basically half a bottle. I don't know why, I just felt led to do that. So basically that was what supposedly saved me from there. And I got home and I was like, Lord, I don't know what this is, but you need to show me what's wrong. And the next morning when I got up, I just had put my arm like this. And as soon as I touched my breast, my implant ruptured. Water went all through the inside of my body. I felt the warmth of it. And I just went, oh my God. As a plastic surgeon scrub tech, I figured this is what's making me sick. I don't know what, but this is it. So I go grab my husband, who happens to be an OR scrub tech, and it was early in the morning, and told him I think I ruptured my implant in a funny voice, and he was like, "Huh?" Well, laying down from the upshot of a 24, size 24 woman, they looked normal to him, but then I turned sideways, and a breast implant breast typically has that, shape to it, whereas the other one was sloped just normal, and so I said, I think I sprung a leak. So he got up and he called, and I happened to already have a mammogram scheduled for the Monday. It was previously scheduled. And of course, I got the news Thursday night that I was dying, and Friday morning, the implant ruptured. So he tried to get me in that day, and they said, no, it's saline, it's safe. And so we just went forward and waited till Monday. When I got there Monday, the tech said, I can confirm your rupture, but we saw the leak 2 years ago. I was like, what did you just say? They saw the leak 2 years ago. So that led me to go, oh my gosh, I need to figure this out. So I wrote on my whiteboard, I never seen my mammograms. I want to see them now. So she took me to the room where the doctor was already looking at my films, and I could see he was comparing them to the previous one 2 years prior. And I am a dental hygienist who knows how to read radiology. And I went, those are far from normal. Why in the hell would they tell me they were normal? And I got home. My neighbor had taken me. We got home and I went to my filing cabinet, and sure enough, I looked and it said normal. I couldn't believe that they had wrote normal on there. So I got a copy of my films and started researching, which led me to go, okay, I'm a dental hygienist. I've looked at 10 years of mammograms. I'm seeing something growing, or it looked like it was getting increasing. And when you go backwards, it looks like it decreases. So I thought, petri dish, what is a petri dish? What grows in a petri dish? And I thought mold. So I typed in the computer, finger picking, mold and saline breast implant. And it came up Monsters Inside Me. Monsters Inside Me had a lady whose story was almost identical to mine. And I watched it. I knew that's what I needed to do. My 11-year-old daughter had to translate for me. So I get her and we call this doctor and we say, here's what's going on with my mom. And can you help her? The doctor calls back, gets a hold of me, looks at my mammogram and said, these are far from normal. I think you have mold in your breast implants and you need to be on antifungals and antibiotics immediately. She calls my doctor, gets him to prescribe it because she's not my doctor, so she can't prescribe it. So she calls him and he gets on the phone and prescribes it. Within 48 hours of taking the antifungals and antibiotics, I, in my opinion, felt 50% better. It was probably only 20%, but in my mind, it was 50%. And we were able to get me scheduled to see that surgeon. We went up there, she did emergency surgery and took my implants out. She said, you were so sick. He was right. Your body was about to die. We got the implants out. I felt better almost instantly. Now I was still real sick because what we didn't know is I had the cancer caused by breast implants. It's immune system cancer known as BIA-ALCL. So here I am having immune system cancer on top of breast implant illness, heavy metal poisoning, silicone poisoning, and I had Mercer also in my implants besides the mold. So my story went global. You can see the mold in my breast implants. I was on the doctor's TV show. I've been on Monsters Inside Me. For 15 days, I was top news story of 2015. And since then, I started a nonprofit called the Implant True Survivors Committee, the TITS Committee. And I help women get their implants removed. I know all there is to know about breast implants and insurance, and I know how to speak trilingual. I call it insurance, doctor, and patient. And so I help with women with that. The problem is I was still real sick. And those molds and heavy metals and toxicities and the cancer all took a toll on my liver. Well, they had already removed my gallbladder, my thyroid, killed my thyroid, took out my ovaries, my uterus, and then they tried to give me a liver transplant when they were all misdiagnosing me. So now I don't have a thyroid, I don't have a gallbladder, and I don't have any female organs. So they slammed me into menopause. My hands and feet had neuropathy. I had fibromyalgia. And we have determined through all the studies that me and several ladies have dug up, the FDA hit over 446,000 breast implant stories. And we went and were able to get the FDA to put a black box warning placed on the breast implants. And I still wasn't done. And I was like, no, there's more for me and I have to get better. So since they were still trying to push a liver transplant on me, I was like, God, you protected me, you showed me, now I need more. I want to be whole. And across my screen, because I subscribe to YouTube with no commercials, your phone listens apparently because I was researching stem cells, and this beautiful soul called Lillian Walker comes up on my phone. And I am watching her talk about these stem cell patches. And because she's talking about these stem cell patches, I was interested. I was like, So I watched her. Now y'all are going to laugh at me and please don't laugh, but 6 months, I could not wrap my head around these two stickers doing anything. So once I got them in my possession, it wasn't an instant thing for me. I was not a one patch wonder. But I knew what it was. She had educated me. She talked to me on the phone, and she really gave her heart and soul into me, and I felt it. And God put her where He needed her that day. And I ordered the patches, and I started on them. And I just got better and better. And even if I didn't feel like I was better, people saw better in me. People started asking me what was different about me. Well, when you're not in pain, you don't have pain face. So not having pain face had 4 people sign up under me. At the time, I couldn't even afford the patches. My husband went and figured out if I would give up my lattes every day, that it would save $300 a month. And so we went and got me one of the things from Kohl's. I make my own lattes at home. And those 4 people signing up under me paid for my patches every month. And I was able to put what Lillian likes to call the Fantastic Five on. So it's X39, X49, glutathione, carnosine, and Aeon. And then I just myself can't live without the energy enhancer, because that took a toll on my life and my body. And it really got me through a lot of different things. And my fibromyalgia is under control. After 4.5 months of wearing the what we call the Fantastic Five, my liver enzymes at 6 months went to normal. At 4.5 months, my hands and feet woke up from neuropathy. And at the 6.5 point mark, we had to lower my thyroid medicine, and we did an ultrasound, and we can prove that my thyroid is starting to regenerate. So these patches are a godsend. They really are a godsend, and I highly recommend them for anybody. And I just can't thank David enough for inventing such an amazing product, and the fact that he gives all the glory to God. It was all aligned. God knew this is what I needed, and he's put people in my place for me to help as well. So thank you for letting me share. I truly appreciate you guys.